All right, everyone, welcome back into another Fantasy Golf video. Going to be breaking down the Farmers Insurance Open here for you guys. Let's go in and get into it. So just getting into a video breakdown for this video. We're going to be doing a quick recap from last week. Another good week, 3 for 3 in terms of profit on the year. Good start to the season. We're giving you guys the tournament preview here for the Farmers Insurance Open. Then giving you guys the top picks and bets in each pricing tier, kind of showing you guys my favorite outright bets as well as placement bets. Then we'll be getting into the lineup process, both showing you guys my first look build and then showing you guys what the 9 to 5 data is going to be telling us is going to be the most optimal build as well, kind of being able to compare the two together. But let's go ahead and start off with that recap from last week. So guys, looking at last week's recap, we'll start off with the slight bad, I guess, if you will, was not on Seb Straka as an outright bet last week. He did rank out 22nd in the 9 to 5 model and was listed as a player that was a potential outright bet as well, long shot only outright bet. Now, to me, had you been someone that was just trying to do outright bet or long shot bets, you probably would have ended up on him, but you probably should have. I mean, for sure, you should have ended up on Jason Day first, right? That was kind of the clear-cut, easy bet that we're going to have on the season. Unfortunately, did not work out for us. Ended up finishing third. There was actually, GPP-wise, I'll touch on this in just a second, extremely tilting day for me there as well. Max Graceman kind of turned it up there. Had an unfortunate back nine, but very good stuff there. I mean, 5 outright bets that finished top 10 or better. Ben Griffin was the other easy outright click that we had last week, and we'll have 2 easy outright clicks this week as well already, which is pretty nice. We'll touch on that in this video. But yeah, just showing you guys kind of that recap from the American Express. So yeah, 20% of the 9 to 5 player pool ended up finishing top 7 or better. Extremely good week. The one issue that we had last week, again, was the fact that the top player in the field sucked. So Sanjay M last week. So we've been really crushing it thus far this year. Again, 3 for 3 in terms of profit, which is obviously really great there. But it could be some massive weeks had just the top overall player done well. So week 1, Xander Schauffele finished at like T30. Turns out he's a little bit banged up. Corey Connors missed the cut at the Sony Open. And then Sanjay M last week missing the cut. And some people might say, well, they're not the best play if they miss the cut. Yeah, quite clearly, guys, the data tells us they were the correct play when all the other players go out and play well when we have another profitable week again. So very good stuff there. Betting-wise, kind of a mixed result there. Ended up being 4.97 units of profit. Okay, so we were able to hit 3 low round golfers throughout the first 3 rounds, which was very nice. Max Graceman was the only full one, though, so we had a couple that were chopped up. The 2-ball/3-ball bets were actually not good this week. It was the first week in a while where that has not been the case, but 2 units of profit head-to-head-wise, which was good to see. And then, yeah, did not hit an outright bet, which was pretty unlucky there, as you guys saw. Very tilting, honestly, outright-wise thus far this season, just because last week at the Sony Open, 3 golfers in the back 9 that really seemed like they had a chance to win. Obviously, Colin Morikawa, runner-up finish. Process is clearly correct, guys. Like, I mean, to have that many shots on an outright bet and missing out on a golfer, that was a decent pick. A little bit annoying, but we know we're doing the correct things here. Good, correct process there. But let's talk about the tilting stuff DFS-wise last week. So, guys, this was one of my better lineups that was going last week. So, yes, was on Seb Straka in terms of him as a DFS option in terms of 150 lineups. If you guys look at the 9 to 5 player pool, I was not on him in the player pool there. But, I mean, look at it, guys. Pretty darn good stuff player pool-wise there. A lot of values really going off. Justin Lauer was in the first look build for you guys in this video last week, which obviously was pretty nice. But when you're going Ben Griffin and Jason Day just kind of locking in that upside, you are just going with that. I'll get back to that lineup, but while we're in this in the write-up, guys, look at the leverage here. And this was something I talked about a decent amount, that it seemed like it was going to be a strong leverage week for us just in general. Very clearly, Jason Day was like the easiest leverage play of the season. It seemed like that at the time and I still haven't been able to wrap my brain around it. Have no clue why no one was on him, just like looking over again, especially because it seemed like a decent amount of people were on Seb Straka when, if you look at it, like across the board, Jason Day was the much better play than Seb Straka. And that's probably a poor example because it's not like Seb Straka was a bad play, but compared to other golfers that got chalked, Adam Hadwin, that's a better example, who kind of predictably was a little bit of a chalk disappointment. Tom Kim, a little bit of disappointment. Like Jason Day ranked out as a better play than Tom Kim. Will Zalatoris kind of predictably was a little bit overowned. And even looking at this, guys, like Nico came in as a potential fade. Tom Hoagie, Sunjam, Max Grayson did end up coming through, but pretty good leverage gain last week as a whole, which was expected. So just through and through a very solid week, except for Sunjam being terrible. That was the very tilting point. And Tony Finau a little bit there as well. But yeah, getting into this, guys, I don't know if you were following it along. Max Grayson ended up with an eagle putt on the closing par 5 there on the back 9. Missed it. It was like a 6-foot eagle putt, misses that. And then on 18, he hits a water ball. Okay, that water ball, if you take that away and you just give him a par, I take down a GPP. Jason Day then ended up making a bogey there. It seemed like he just really needed to make a putt, and he could have applied some pressure to Sepp Straka to potentially, give up that lead. But extremely tilting day yesterday, guys. Extremely tilting. I mean, JT Poston burned so many edges on his putts as well. So it seems like I'm complaining about having a good week. I'm not, but it was an extremely tilting week because 3 straight weeks of extremely good stuff. Don't want to complain about profit, but really should have been 3 straight weeks of massive weeks because the top end players have been a letdown there. Hopefully that isn't the case this week because we are getting Hideki and Ludwig Aubert really looking like stellar plays this week. So with that, guys, let's go ahead and jump on into the tournament preview for this week. And guys, as you know, I really hate the kind of recap portion of it. It's just a lot of fluff there. It's like, I just want to get into the information. It feels like a sell pat on the back when you're just like consistently doing well. But looking at the past results here, I think it's very interesting here. So last year was not on Pavon, but 2 years ago we were on Max Homa, and then we were also on Luke List. I don't believe we're on Patrick Reed that year when he won it, but that same year at the U.S. Open really nailed the U.S. Open, had Louis Oosthuizen and then John Rahm as well, where the tournament took place there at this course. And really the Luke List winner is probably one of my favorite outright winners of maybe my fantasy golf content career, because like it was strange, like not many people were on him. It was kind of the exact same scenario as maybe Sepp Straka last week, where yeah, you could get there if you want to chase more of a long shot number. He was like top 15 the year he won it. That's just kind of fun, how he won it as well. A lot of people are going to be on Will Zalatoris there, who that year, Willie Zeke like basically choked that one away, and then Luke List really clutched up on a W there. But it was a fun outright winner that year. But it is worth calling out the course breakdown here. So this tournament is going to be played on 2 different courses. We are going to get the main course, which is Torrey Pines South course for 3 rounds. But for the first 2 rounds, we're going to see that the players will play on the North course on one of those first 2 rounds. The North course is typically the easier of the 2. It's a shorter course. You can score on that for showdown purposes. You're going to be targeting that, but it really doesn't change much in terms of our strategy for this week. You want to be concentrating on the stats that are going to set up for success on the South course. That's basically it. It's a longer track, and with that, we know which key stats to be looking at as well. And so we'll get into the key stats in just a second, but we'll take a peek at which golfers have the best course history here with multiple starts here over the last 4 years. And so with that, actually, Taylor Montgomery is a player that has extremely good course history here, guys. 3 straight May cuts with 2 top 15 place finishes. He's also been someone on a May cut streak. Could be an interesting value play for us this week. He's kind of someone I see as a shoulder shrug play. You do see Luke List mixing in there as well. 3 top 25 finishes and really just extremely good course history when we go a little bit further as well. He is someone that also won this event. You look at Willie Z, who pretty darn good course history, minus that 74th place finish 2 years ago at this event. Kevin Yu, a 6th and 44th place finish. Interesting there. Hideki, though, Hideki's going to be someone we are definitely going out of our way to roster, I think, this week. 13th, 9th, 30th, 53rd, and if we go back further, really good course history for him. But that's the thing. We do see a lot of golfers that tend to play this event, tend to play it well again the next week, the next season, which is very nice to see. And so we are going to see a lot of golfers that have good course history, have at least made multiple starts here. Like Taylor Pendrith, for example. He's going to be a player we're going out of our way to roster and bet on. Tony Finau, one of the bigger disappointments last week. Will he bounce back this week? Potentially. He got off to a slow start in his round 3. He had like 5 straight bogeys. Heck, maybe even just woke up on the wrong side of the bet. Honestly, like it was a very slow start. Kind of got it together. Sunjam was very annoying last week. Way too many double bogeys. It felt like in round 1 he made a double bogey on 18. Where had he not made that double bogey, he probably makes the cut. Kind of just felt like at that moment when he made that double bogey, tournament was basically over for him. A little bit annoying there again. Aaron Rai is going to be someone we're looking at 5 straight May cuts if we go back at it. But again, we're only looking at the last 4 years in terms of data. That's when the data is going to be the most significant. So you guys get a good idea of this. Lots of golfers with lots of great course history, which to me is being the fourth event of the season with enough recent form in for some of these guys and enough key stat data, this week is going to be one of the more, it sounds weird to say after we've had pretty darn predictable weeks thus far, going to be one of the more predictable weeks we've had thus far this year on paper. And that's simply because we are getting more and more data coming in now, and data that's going to be most relevant, golfers where we have seen them a few times now competitively on the PGA Tour, at least recently. So let's go ahead and take a peek at the top kind of key stats here, guys. The interesting thing about this tournament is there are a bunch of key stats that we should be looking at. You do need to look at bogey avoidance, but you also need to look at birdie to bogey ratio as well. So what I do is a 9-to-5 stat, which is effective birdie to bogey ratio, which is kind of doing an extension of birdie to bogey ratio, but also focusing on bogey avoidance. It's putting that extra emphasis on it. So effective birdie to bogey ratio, we're looking at that as a key stat. Par 5 scoring over the last 5 starts. You need to be scoring on the par 5s. It's one of the most predictive stats. And then total driving as well over the last 5. You do need some length here, but you also do need to be hitting the fairway. Golfers that are really good total driving and ball striking for that matter tend to play extremely well here. And then due to the nature of this kind of course setup, where it's a little bit longer and you got to be strategic, we do see that strokes gained around the green and strokes gained putting both become pretty darn key stats here, more so than they are at other events throughout the year. But again, it's kind of a combination stat that we're looking at, strokes gained around the green and strokes gained putting. Okay, so we're looking at that as well. Other stats that we're looking at as well, it's kind of a bigger week for that. Long iron accuracy, again, given the length of the course, we do see golfers have to go with their long irons a little bit more. So like 200 plus scoring is what we're looking at, but that's another combination stat that I have in the database. And then as always, guys, strokes gained tee to green, strokes gained total. We're always looking at that stuff. But when we look at that, guys, Hideki, top staff hit Max Gracerman, Ludwig, Harry Hall, Shane Lowry, who we haven't really seen this year, Sungjae, Bo Hosler, Keegan Bradley, Alex Smalley, Willie Z kind of popping up in there. So again, like this week on paper, Aaron Rice popping up in there. This week on paper, at least we know we are getting good staff hits, good course history golfers, and golfers that are going to be in relatively good recent form. All right, so looking at guys, Max Gracerman is coming in with the best recent form in the field here, guys, really across the board over his last 5, over his last 10, and even over his last 15 would still rank out 12. So really good across the board, really good big cut streak going. Again, you take out that freaking water ball from him as well. Not only do I win a GPP, but he ends up with a much better finish there. But 3 out of his last 4 starts on the PGA Tour have been top 10 finishes, extremely good there. 4 of them have been top 7 or better. I mean, insanely good there. Jason Day as well. We see that really good form with him. Kind of the easiest click of the year last year, both in DFS, ownership leverage wise, betting wise. And for what's worth, guys, hopefully you guys at least hammered him top 40. He was I got him at minus 110 for a top 40 bet, or even top 10 where, we were getting a really good payout. Very good stuff there. Again, kind of a small sample size here, but, decent results here. We go a little bit deeper. Harry Hall's popping up in there. Just extremely good stuff there from him. Look at that form, guys. 6 straight starts now of top 25 or better finishes. Taylor Pendrith, really one bad start mixed in there, but a really great make cut streak. He has had great form. We see Aaron Rai mixed in there as well. We saw him at the Century Tournament, 15th place finish there for him. Hideki, guys. Hideki, I could argue, is a really good outright bet this week, even though maybe you worry about the upside with him coming in off of that victory. But no, I think he's going to be good to go. We're going to be looking at him as well. So we have a lot of strong options there. Then lastly, guys, we'll go ahead and take a peek at the top specialist here, guys. I don't think we really need to go with anything too crazy in terms of the specialist data. Again, just kind of looking at everything together, all those unique data points together, and we're going to see basically all the top end golfers are really popping up in there. Kind of an interesting player that's popping up in there to me that I wouldn't have really expected, Mark Hubbard. Then actually Jeremy Paul, kind of a value play for us last week, ended up making the cut, did what we wanted him to do. So what I like seeing here is that a lot of the players that I'm already naturally being on are also going to be good specialists. So with that, guys, let's go ahead and get into the top plays. All right, so the issue that we have this week is that because, we had some big name golfers kind of withdraw, Xander, Colin Morikawa, we are now getting Aubert and Hideki, who probably would have been cheaper and much easier to fit into our builds at, kind of premium price tags. Now, I'm fine with both of them. I think they're both spectacular plays. Aubert kind of feels like he's due for a victory here. 5 straight make cuts now on the PGA Tour with multiple top 10 finishes. We know he's a great golfer. Don't really have to break that down too much. Does have course experience here. 9th place finish at this event last year. Going to be a top 3 stat fit, really just coming in, checking all the boxes for us. The one kind of knock on him is the fact that he's only made 1 start at this tournament. That's it. That's really all we got. Other than that, just a strong play across the board. We look at the odds for him. 10 to 1 across the board. I'm kind of okay with that. That feels like pretty darn good odds for him. Now, I don't know if we need to go deep with a betting card. Like, I feel pretty good about like 4 of the bets that I'm on. That might be it for me this week. We'll see. I'm toying around with some other golfers as well, but he'll be in it there for me. I think that's pretty simple, but I do want to call out something here. So the data tag, guys, this is kind of like the AI, if you will, kind of highlighting just how we should properly go about valuing golfers. And so like core plays, we are getting 3 core plays this week. Well, Bear's going to be one of them. Now, you do see Shane Lowry popping up in there. I don't know if I would actually treat Shane Lowry as a core play, just as an FYI, just because we haven't seen him make a start thus far this season. We know the more time off from playing competitive golf, the more random the results are going to be for a lot of golfers. And then Aaron Rai, we'll get to him in a second. He's kind of just the easy click for us. And then, yeah, if you guys are wondering about kind of maybe potentially good outright bets, you guys can click on kind of this data as well if you guys are a 9-to-5 member. We didn't have any, like, last week was a weird week. We didn't have any, like, quote-unquote good traditional outright bets on the season. But again, Seb Straka was listed as a long shot only bet last week. So you guys can check that out. But jumping back into the data, it does seem like Obear or Hideki are both going to be great options. And really just Hideki, just the way he has looked. Obviously, we've only seen him a little bit recently, but still the Century winning in kind of the way he did in kind of dominant fashion, really. And then following that up with a 16th place finish at the Sony Open. That's highly encouraging to me. And so we're looking at the odds that we can get for him, kind of 11 to 1, 10 to 1. I actually feel pretty good about that with him as well. And he's someone really just across the board is going to be a phenomenal play. Now, he does have the one bad thing here. He's coming in as the top play in the 9-to-5 model. So if history repeats itself, though, it's not going to be the best. I mean, that's crazy, right? It's just so tilting there that we've been so good. The data's been so good, except for the top player just not showing up. I mean, that's tilting. I would almost rather, I wouldn't, but you guys get the sentiment here. It's like, I would almost rather be wrong and just the data be wrong than to have the top golfer screw over a massive week. You know, it's kind of annoyed there. But no, he's kind of the clear option here. Tremendous course history, good form, multiple victories. It wouldn't be surprising to see him go out and win this week. And then from there, it does get more difficult because we could get to Sungjae, we could get to Tony Finau, both quality options. We have Max Grayserman, who, you know, I don't really care that he missed the cut here. You know, we know course history-wise, the most important thing course history-wise is just having a start. And then after that, obviously, having good course history is good as well. So the fact that he made a start here and it wasn't even terrible, I'm kind of okay with that. And obviously, best form in the field, second best staff in the field. I'm wondering if I want to be on him outright wise. I probably will be. I probably will still be betting, the top 5% in the field in terms of like outright bets, and I'll probably get to him, especially when we can get him at 25 to 1. I'm kind of okay with that, and those are fine odds to me. Top 20, 1 to 1. 1.4 to 1. I like those odds there as well for him, so I'll probably get there. But Keegan Bradley is certainly the interesting click here for me. So Keegan Bradley is someone that, we don't think of as a good long course type of golfer. And I'm actually curious, lengthwise, let's see how he compares to the rest of the field. Actually, top 10. So he's been better in terms of these longer tracks. We see the course history, guys, 43rd, 2nd, and then 65th. So pretty darn good stuff there from him. Key stat wise, I mean, pretty good. That effective birdie to bogey ratio, 15th, 9th in par 5 scoring. Could be better in his total driving, but fine in strokes gained around the green and strokes gained putting. And then the form has been just pretty good with Keegan Bradley as well. I do worry his odds are a little bit lower than I would like, and honestly, his price tag DFS-wise is a little bit lower than I would like. A lot of people are going to talk you into Willie Z. DFS-wise, I don't know if I'll be able to get there because of that. I feel like he's going to end up being chalky, kind of like he was last week, where it's like, all right, I get why people like him. People are going to chase that course history there and really chase the fact that he has looked pretty good. He missed really some easy putts last week again, very annoying there. But then when you compare him against other golfers around him, it's like, all right, Max Grayserman kind of clearly the better play. Jason Day, kind of clearly the better option, has shown more upside recently and, probably has better win equity. He's another player where I'm like, all right, am I going to bet him outright or not? Coming in off of last week where I probably will. I mean, the course history, guys, it's been very hit or miss. Miscut, 7th, 3rd, miscut. And so if we get him on a good week, which he looked really good last week. I mean, that Sunday where he just burnt so many edges, there's like 6 putts where they were right around the cup. If he gets one of those to drop and really that eagle putt on the back 9, it really kind of felt like had he made that, the pressure would have been on Seb Straka there. And I don't know if you guys are watching the coverage. It was like the third to last hole, maybe the second to last hole. I don't know if it was conditioning or if the stress was actually getting to him. Seb Straka was doing some deep breaths there. I'm like, oh gosh, he's nervous. But I'm also like, he's a bigger guy. Maybe it's just the early season conditioning is not really there for where it needs to be. But It would have been interesting to see pressure being applied to Sepp Straka. And it was weird because, like, DFS wise, it didn't really matter if Day won or if Cantlay won or Graceman won, and Straka didn't. The only worry I had is if JT won and Sepp Straka didn't. So I didn't really know what to cheer for. It was kind of strange. But I just need Jason Day to do well. That's what I was cheering for. But yeah, outright wise, I mean, the form's there. Second best form in the field, still ranks out extremely well. Actually ranks out a little bit worse this week than he did last week, which is a little bit interesting, but that's obviously due to the hit or miss nature of him at this tournament where, that predictability is just not there. He can present that upside, and I do think I want to be on him outright wise, but it is a little bit more risky. And then from there, guys, I don't think we need to touch on these other golfers because to me, this week screams to me to be a fair and balanced week. It really hasn't been that thus far this season. And if you guys are wondering what that means, like DFS wise, fair and balanced is just kind of pulling from the middle of the salaries. So basically 9K to like 7.5 typically. And Taylor Pendrith is part of the reason as to why. So Taylor Pendrith is really just an easy click, guys, coming in as the 6th best pick overall in the model, 3rd best pick in the 9-to-5 model for what that's worth. So if you guys are confused as to what's going on there, the 9-to-5 model is not accounting for outright odds or make cut percent odds. Don't really care for that there, but the overall rank is doing that as well. So either way, top 7 play. Typically speaking, we're betting on the top 7 golfers to win. Again, that yields some long-term profit for us. A little bit tilting start with that process here where I'm a little tilted there. I am. But he's kind of the clear option, and we can get him at 35-1 for a golfer that, one, is coming in off of a top 10 finish at this tournament last year, and then 3 straight make cuts. A golfer that you look at his par 5 scoring, top 10 there. The rest of the key stats, a little bit worrisome. I wish those were a little bit better, but he still ranks out top 15 or better key stat wise. We look at the specialist ranked 8th best in the field and really just sets up well. This is crazy. So like one of the I have so many like dumb data points in there, like fairway width, you're right. First or top player in the field in terms of the fairway width that we have this week. Green width as well. So does pretty well on greens this size as well. So people reference that. And I'm like, all right, if people want that data, I can give it to them. I have it, but it doesn't really matter. But yeah, again, really like him at 35-1. He's just kind of a clear, easy click as well, DFS wise. Another kind of clear and easy click as well in that same price tag range is going to be Aaron Rai. Aaron Rai, if you look at maybe some of his DP tour starts, not exactly the best, but no, I don't really care for that. When golfers are switching tours like that or going to a secondary tour, it's kind of a cherry on top if they play well. I don't tend to knock them too much. There's just like travel mixed in there and whatnot. But looking at his past few starts on the PGA Tour, really good stuff there. Okay, but the 15th place finish at the Century, I like the fact that we saw him play well, and now we're getting him at a cheap price tag at a course that he's played well at. So 3 straight make cuts at this track with the top 10 finish mixed in there. Recent form, again, kind of dating back a little bit too far, but pretty good there. Great specialist. You think of like long iron courses. It's tough not to think of someone like Aaron Rai doing well. Pretty darn good across the board. The only thing that we might worry about is he does struggle on these POA greens. 58th in the field there. If we look back and say, oh, Aaron Rai struggled, it could be that reason there, but across the board kind of just clearly underpriced. And this isn't exactly Jason Day where it's like a must click outright wise because it's only 55-1, whereas Jason Day on some sites 90-1, right? You're getting a top 7 play at 90-1. I mean, that's crazy. And so some people were confused last week when I mentioned, like, I get how people end up on Nick Taylor, but like data wise kind of a bad outright bet. And I think a good example of what I meant by that was Jason Day being a good outright bet, like a golfer that we're just clearly going out of our way to bet because all the data points are telling us to do so, and especially given the fact that the outright market really isn't adjusting for it. That's kind of how I feel here with Aaron Rai as well. It's just kind of the correct bet at 55-1, FanDuel, PointsBet, very good odds there for him. Now, Max Homa's kind of an interesting click, former winner at this event, obviously has good course history, California guy that tends to play well in California events. We could get there. I don't need to get there. Maverick McNeely is going to be a fine play as well, coming in with decent form, fine course history here as well. But my biggest question is kind of what to do with these two. We got Beau Hosler, Ben Griffin, and we can even toss in Harry Hall into his mix. So this is kind of the issue, and this is where I'm like, all right, it is clearly a fair and balanced week where we could just load up on these 3 golfers here, Ben Griffin, Beau Hosler, and maybe not Beau Hosler, maybe he's more of a GPP play, just given that kind of terrible course history minus the 1 top 10 finish. So we'll take him off of that. but Harry Hall and Ben Griffin, where Ben Griffin, sure, he missed the cut this event last year, but 31st place finish the year prior to that. Extremely good form there with Ben Griffin, 11th best form in the field, top 20 stat fit. The one knock on him is going to be that slightly poor course history where he missed the cut at this event last year, but played extremely well last week. Then we look at Harry Hall here, guys. Harry Hall, again, tremendous form for him. Top 5 stat fit, top 5 in recent form. Not the best specialist. That's a knock on him. And we see that reflected in his bad course history here. So maybe not as much of like a lock and load option as we would like, but not terrible. Let's go ahead and drop down now into that lower tier, that 7K tier, kind of the sleeper tier, if you will. Thomas Dietrich is someone that I don't mind coming in with 4 straight make cuts, relatively good course history, 20th and 37th place finish. I'm okay with that. Mark Hubbard also as well in there, but now we're starting to get into, all right, I could find lots of reasons to be on lots of these golfers. Mark Hubbard, Stefan Jaeger, both quality options, both kind of fine GPP plays. Mark Hubbard probably a better like cash play, more of a shoulder shrug play. I could get there. Other options like Jonathan Vegas, fine GPP option. Patrick Fishburne had a terrible week last week, guys, but prior to that was playing good golf. Like, what do we do with that? Justin Lauer, I actually do like a decent amount here at his price tag. Obviously coming in off of a good week for us. He has 2 top 5 finishes over his last 4 starts. Made the cut here last year, 43rd place finish. Not a terrible price tag, but the player that's a little bit better to me is actually looking at Sam Stevens, who has now, kind of played well enough thus far this season, this 2025 season. 9 straight made cuts for him. I like him. Kevin Hughes, typically someone that's more of a hit or miss option as well. Obviously, good course history for him. Jacob Bridgman, I still don't mind here. I'm fine with him. Lee Hodges, pretty good form going. But I think there is kind of a clear and easy option value play that we currently have. And so let's jump into the value tier. I haven't decided if I want to get to him as like an outright bet, but he is someone maybe you can consider probably going to be a better like made cut bet or even like top 40 bet where you're going to get a good payout for him. 150 to 1 is somewhat intriguing. Okay. This is a golfer where you bet on him and hope for the best. Now, had we seen Joseph Brennan this season and maybe we got a good start out of him, I'd be much more inclined to be on him. But we haven't seen him thus far this season. We have no idea where his game is at. He could come out and finish dead last, okay? But using the data points from last year, he's kind of a clearly decent option. So like the 9-to-5 data likes him 30th overall. Now, when we adjust it for the outrights and make cut percent, 42nd, so still not terrible. And so what is the data like in here? Clearly the really good course history, guys. California guy, great course history. I mean, 3 top 25 finishes here at this event and was able to make the cut at the one year where he kind of struggled at it. Pretty darn good form as well. We see a bunch of make cuts mixed in there, 6 straight make cuts from him. Not going to be the best at it, but still top 25 in the field. Where he struggles is the specialist data, but we already saw that course history kind of tell us where maybe we could ignore that here with Joseph Brennan. Obviously, we're searching for reasons to be on him, but I think we found some. And so, if you're someone that likes to fire off some long shot bets, I would consider this for example, guys, a bad outright bet. A bad outright bet can hit like Nick Taylor, okay? You find reasons to place a bet on something like this. And the reason I phrase it that way is because I don't want people going out of their way to place bad outright bets all the time simply because they want to do a long shot bet. Please just bet on the golfers that are good outright bets. And then from there, I could find reasons to be on some golfers. Sam Ryder's down there. I don't want to butcher his last name here. Mateo, maybe. That's fine. Obviously, Luke List has good course history. And like his form isn't complete trash. Like he's been right around a make cut. Maybe that course history elevates him enough to make the cut here. Vincent Norman's fine. Like we are getting decent value plays where shrug his shoulders and get to them. But with that, guys, let's go ahead and jump now into the 9-to-5 core plays. So core play number 1, you guys could have guessed it. Aaron Rai, pretty easy one, guys. So the odds that we can get from 55 to 1 on some sites, 50 to 1 on DraftKings. The recent form on him is obviously we like that, but we also would have loved to have seen him play last week or at the Sony Open. Finished 15th though at the Century Tournament, which is obviously good there. Strong course history, guys. 33rd, 52nd, and 6th. He's a golfer that's coming in, checking all the boxes. Top specialist rank, top 20 stat fit, just across the board. Kind of an easy click for us. Giving him a projected finish of top 10. Go ahead and get into my second core play. It is going to be Ludwig Aubert, the top price golfer on the slate. I honestly could have went with Hideki as well. Both of them I kind of consider interchangeable. If you guys like Hideki a little bit more, you can get there. To me, they're both core plays. Both him and Hideki are, again, checking all the boxes, but Aubert is ranking as the best specialist, 4th best course history. Now, he's only made 1 start here, which was a 9th place finish last year, 3rd best stat fit, and he's coming in 10th in recent form rank, but like the fact that we saw him at the Century Tournament earlier on this year, and he was able to finish 5th. So good stuff there. Again, basically checking all the boxes. The third core play is going to be Taylor Pendrith. No shock there for you guys. Kind of just, again, another easy click. Just where he's priced just makes him very easy. Some odds, honestly, the DraftKings odds there, not the best. I made that graphic prior to us getting some more odds. You can do him at 35-1 now on DraftKings, FanDuel, and PointsBet. So good stuff there. But he's another golfer just checking all the boxes. Great course history. Top 10 finish at this tournament last year. Pretty strong form. Would have loved to have seen him play better at the Sony Open. 45th place finish for him there, but this course is going to set up much better for his game than the Sony Open did. Finished 13th at the Century Tournament as well, so we've seen him play pretty well twice now thus far this season, so I like that there from him. Top 15 stat fit, so really good play across the board. And then, yes, guys, in the sense that he's a little bit too cheap, Joseph Brennan. So not exactly like a quote-unquote core play where he's like checking all the boxes, but given where he's priced and given kind of the nature of this week, I do think we could be going out of our way to get to him. Again, looking at his odds have gotten increased for us, so you can get him at like 150-1, which is good enough for me. So we'll go ahead and show you guys the lineup process now for this week. And so we'll go ahead now and put in all those core plays, and we'll even toss in Hideki in there just for example purposes. But yeah, Taylor Pendrith, easy click. Aaron Rai, easy click. And we'll toss in Bremlett in there. So obviously we're not going to be able to make this work because we won't have enough salary left over. If we go off of Hideki, we'll have 7.6 left over, and we can still make a decent lineup work. At the same time, I don't feel the need to go out of my way to roster like anyone that low. And this is where I'm like, all right, let's just go with a fair and balanced lineup for the most part. Maybe don't get to a bear as much. It's where we could get to someone like Jason Day, Keegan Bradley. Now we have 6.8 left over, probably going a little bit deep into Value Town, but there's quality options here. I mentioned a bunch already right there where we could get to them. Maybe you don't need to get to those two. Maybe you're maybe worried about Jason Day and that course history being a little bit too hit or miss. I understand that. Then we can get to Ben Griffin, who again, miscut at this event last year, but kind of, oh well. Then we could get to Harry Hall potentially, Bo Hosler, both kind of decent clicks there as well. Maybe go down to Thomas Dietrich or Mark Hubbard. Okay, so it is a little bit difficult to close out a build, and maybe we don't even need to get to like Joseph Bremlett. And that's, you guys can see the path where I'm more going a fair and balanced build. So with that, guys, we'll jump into the 9-to-5 lineup builder, see what that's telling us to do. All right, so again, guys, we need to give this 2 data points to go off of. So I'm really just going to round up to full numbers for Hideki and Aubert and just generate this. Okay, so 135 for Aubert, Hideki 137, whatever, generate that. And then the whole purpose of this is kind of just show you guys what the data is liking. Now, I'm pretty sure both my first look build and the first look 9-to-5 lineup, optimal lineup has cashed 3 straight times as well, which obviously, pretty good stuff there. We're looking at Shane Lowry. So Shane Lowry, again, the concern, we haven't seen him competitively thus far this season on the PGA Tour. So I'm on the TGL, right? Right? Or no? Am I thinking about that wrong? Might be wrong about that. Whatever. Doesn't matter. But Taylor Pendrith, then Aaron Rai, so definitely there. Then Ben Griffin, then Harry Hall, then Holgard, which I'm kind of okay with. Let's see how much it's getting to Holgard. 95%. So really likes him. 90% Taylor Pendrith, 100% Aaron Rai. Honestly, guys, had we seen Shane Lowry, I'd be perfectly happy with him there. I mean, his game sets up perfect for this course. It really does. We just don't know where his game's at. And so to me, he becomes a little bit risky. We'll have some exposure to him in GPPs. I just don't know if I see him winning just without that lack of competitive rounds on the season where you already have some golfers that have competitive rounds going. So guys, that's going to do it for this video. Do want to just remind you guys of all that's available on the 9to5sports.com website. Okay, you guys can get access to all the tools that are available for fantasy golf for just $10 a month, highlighted right here, guys, for you. Also include that is going to be the Prize Picks and Underdog tools. And also, you guys will get access to the weekly featured write-up that I put out every single week there. If you guys want access to that for now, I think for at least 2 more events, I'll probably put it out there for free and maybe throughout the whole season if it gets enough love. But to get access to that, guys, scroll down to the bottom of the homepage and just enter your email. You guys will subscribe to that newsletter there or that write-up if you want to call it that. Again, all that's going to be available for just $10 a month, but appreciate you guys being here. Good luck with all your lineups and bets for this week, the Farmers Insurance Open. Thank you guys for watching. Good luck. And as always, let's keep cashing.